Yo, today I'm going to be ranking every single legendary weapon in Deepwoken on the tier list. And don't worry, it's going to be 100% accurate because I'm about 8,000 elo in ranked right now. So yeah, I know everything about the game. You don't. My opinions are absolute. Let's get into it. Alright, starting off with the Curved Blade of Winds. Very solid weapon in my opinion. It's got good stats, good damage, swing speed, everything like that. I don't like the crit that much. I think it's just not that good. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but overall, I like the weapon. I'd probably put it in solid tier. Not amazing, not bad either. Next up, we got the Hero Blade of Wind. Very good stats, actually. This weapon is good because you don't have to put anything into medium, light, or anything like that. So it saves you a lot of points. I love the crit. I think the crit's better than the Curved Blade of Winds. I've used this weapon myself a lot. I like it. I'm putting it in the great tier. Next up, we got the Wraithclaw. I think the stats are actually kind of mid on this. And again, I don't play light weapon that much because I don't like it, but the damage is kind of mid. It's got a great crit though. Other than that though, I don't see a lot of good in this weapon. I think it's mid, honestly, so I'm putting it in the mid tier. Hero Blade of Flame. It's got pretty good stats like the Hero Blade of Wind. The crit is worse than the Hero Blade of Wind by a lot, I think. The crit is just not that good. Do I like it? Not really. If I play Flame, I wouldn't pick the Hero Blade as my first choice of weapon. I think it's mid tier, honestly. Pleekste's Inferno. When's the last time you've ever seen anyone using this thing? It's not bad, honestly. Like, the stats are okay. Crit is decent, I guess, but it's just not popular at all. I don't see anyone using this weapon. I don't think it'll ever be good, but I mean, if you want to play it, I guess you can, but I'm putting this in mid tier. Rosen's Hellflame. Yeah, this weapon is not good. This thing sucks. Yeah, I think people used it for like the first week it came out and then it just disappeared. The crit is just cheesy. It's not really that good if the person just, runs away from it, doesn't try to parry it. The stats are just bad because rifles aren't that good anymore, to be honest. I don't really see many rifles. Maybe Storm's Eye, but yeah, the rifle nerf kind of killed this thing. This is going in the bad tier. Next up, we got the Pyrekeeper. Man, I hate the Pyrekeeper. This is my least favorite weapon in the entire game. The only people that use this thing are the people that just spam flame mantras and run away the whole game. This weapon is broken. It has a ton of damage for a heavy, extremely fast swing speed, and like 18 different criticals, none of which you could really parry that good. Pyrekeeper is going in broken tier. I hate this weapon. Next up, we got the Hero Blade of Frost. It's not really good at all. I mean, the crit is like probably one of the worst crits in the entire game. The stats are alright, but it's not nearly as good as any other Hero Blade just because the critical is so bad. So I won't put it in terrible because you still save a lot of stats by going it and it makes it somewhat worth using, but it's going in bad. You really shouldn't use this thing. Grand Sudaruska. It's actually very good. Does a ton of damage. The crit is... You can guard break with the crit a lot. It's hard to parry. You can mix up a lot with it. I don't like it because of the slow swing speed. I'm not a big heavy weapon guy, but it's still a very solid weapon, both for PvP and PvE, so it's going in the solid tier. Kyr's Winter. One of my favorites in the entire game. The Kyr's Winter has such good damage, really good swing speed. The critical is pretty good too, but it's just very good on any ice medium build. You save a lot of medium by going it. It's a very solid spear, has great stats. I'm putting it in the great tier. It's not broken, it's just very good. Next up, we got the Hailbreaker. Again, when's the last time you've seen anyone using this thing, bro? Also, the crit is so delayed. I don't think I've ever been hit by the crit on this thing a single time. Also, the stats are kind of just meh. It's slow swing speed, doesn't do a lot of damage for it. It's got decent pen, I guess, but it's just not a good weapon. I'm putting this in bad. I don't like it at all. Hero Blade of Lightning. How would this... I'm not going to ramble on about the same thing I have for the other ones, but how does this compare to the other Hero Blades? I think the crit is very good. Well, not, I guess it's decent, but I'd put this in solid tier. Very viable. Next up, we got the Storm's Eye. Yeah. It's been rough ever since the rifle nerf for this thing. It's got decent stats, I guess. A little bit. It's got fast swing speed, good rifle animations. That's the only thing I like about rifles, is because the animations are kind of janky and hard to parry still, but it's solid. I don't hate it, but it's not nearly as good as it used to be. Next up, we got the Bolt Crusher. Yeah, the Bolt Crusher just does way too much damage, I'm gonna be honest. Way too much damage. This thing has insane pen. The critical is stupid. Probably gonna guard break a lot with this weapon. Do I think it's great or broken? I think it's great, honestly. I don't think it's broken. Shadow Hero Blade. Probably... I don't think it's as good as the Wind one. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, it's probably as good as the Wind one. Again, you save a lot of stats by going it. You know, Shadow Hero Blade's been meta for a pretty long time now, so I'd put this in great. Next up, we got the Crit Blade. This might be our first terrible, to be honest. The Crit Blade got absolutely gutted after the Crit Blade nerf. The only reason you would ever use the Crit Blade is because the critical went through parry, but now that that doesn't happen, it's kind of one of the worst legendary weapons in the game, I'm gonna be honest. This thing is terrible. I wouldn't go it. Deep Spindle. Very good. It does good damage for a rapier. Very fast swing speed. The criticals are stupid. Nothing much to say about the Deep Spindle, really. I think it might be in broken along with the Pyre Keeper. I hate going up against it, and it's just really strong. Ignition Deep Crusher. Yeah, this thing sucks. I don't know why anyone would use this when you could just go anything else, really. The stats are kind of mid. I mean, it has good bleed on one of the variants, but that's about it, really. It has decent swing speed, but the criticals are horrible. Yeah, I never see anyone really using this. I wouldn't use it either, so it's going in the bad tier. Iron Requiem, honestly, I think it's slept on. I think the critical is good. It's got very good stats for a gun. It does solid damage. I'm more inclined to put this in solid tier. It does very good. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's just pretty good. I think it's solid. Blood Fowler. Yeah, I think everyone knows where this belongs. It, like, does an insane amount of damage. The swing speed's alright, I guess, but all the other stats are good. The critical's really good. This thing is absolutely broken, and I don't know how it hasn't been nerfed yet. It's just annoying. The Flare Blood Kamas. Yeah, this weapon kind of fell off, I'm gonna be honest. When it first came out, a lot of people used it, but now I just don't really think it's worth going. I would put it in mid if it wasn't for the intelligence requirement. That's what kills this weapon for me. I really don't like the fact that you have to invest intelligence to get this weapon, so for me, this is going in the bad tier. Well, maybe mid, actually. You know what? I'll be generous. I'll put it in the mid tier. Dormant Splinter. This is probably the worst legendary weapon in the entire game. Has horrible stats. The critical doesn't work. And before you say, oh, what do you mean Dormant Splinter's really good? I'm talking about the uncrafted version, not the Umbright Witherblade. I'm talking about the Dormant Splinter. And yeah, it's terrible. I don't know why. Like, it has no good stats. I think it does as much damage as a sword you get when you're a freshie. Yeah, it's not good. The Eye of Malice. I really like this weapon. I think it has very solid stats. The critical is good. It's just solid. Has very good pen, too. Good swing speed. I think this might... Well, the swing speed's a little bit low for a medium weapon, actually, but I still think it's really good, so I'd put this in the great tier. Next up, we got the Fracton. The Fracton, actually no, I'd rather use the Dormant Splinter than the Fracton. The Fracton is the worst legendary weapon in this entire game. I don't know why anyone would choose to use this thing. It has some of the worst stats in the game for a great sword. And not only that, but you need to invest 40 intelligence on it on top of all that, so it's going in the tier. Actually, no, I'm making a new tier for the Fracton. This thing is unusable. Let's just make a new tier real quick, and yeah, the Fracton is going in that. Yeah, this is in Fracton tier. The Imperator's Edge. I'm gonna be honest, this weapon is not very good because of the high stat requirement. I mean, unless you're going Silent Heart, I guess, then it could be decent, but this weapon just needs way too many stats for it to be good, so I don't really like it at all. I don't think it's good. Do I put it in meh or bad? I think it's bad, to be honest. I really don't think it's good. I don't know why anyone would use it. Next up, we got the Imperial Staff. Very underrated. The criticals are stupid. They're hard to parry. It does good damage, has good swing speed. I'd probably put this in solid, if I'm being honest. Next up, we got the Kier Sieger. This thing it kind of fell off after all the text got patched, but it's still decent, I guess, if you really want to run it. I just don't think it's that good anymore. I think it fell off hard, so I would probably put this in the bad tier, if I'm being honest. Next up, we got the Light's Final Toll. Yeah, this weapon, again, like the other one, it just fell off. It used to be one of the best legendary weapons in the game when it only needed willpower, but now that it needs 35 light, it's not really worth going anymore. It's still got very good swing speed and stats. Decent. I mean, it's just decent, I guess, if you really want to run it. I'd pick something else, though, personally. So, I'd put it in mid. Now, if y'all know who I am, or watch my other videos, you'd know that I'm very biased. Yeah, the Soul Thorn is the best weapon in the game. That's not up for debate. Best weapon in the game. It's got extremely good stats, extremely good critical. It's got a ton of pen, fast swing speed. Yeah, it's best weapon in the game. I don't want to hear it from any of you. I love the Soul Thorn. It's absolutely broken. Next up, we got the Vortex Echo. It's good for cheese builds, I guess. I mean, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but I guess for the critical, if you're running a cheese build, it would be very good, so I'd probably put this in mid tier. It's like hyper specific if you're going this weapon. That's about it, really. Next up, we got the Stoneheart. For PvE, I think it's good if you want to farm. What was it, the Duke or something? Yeah, I guess if you're doing that, it's alright, but it's a terrible weapon for PvP. I don't think I've ever seen anyone using it. It has just mid stats. The swing speed is just way too slow. You're pretty much never landing the critical, especially if you charge it up, so yeah, this is going in the... Do I put it in terrible or bad? I think it's terrible, to be honest. I'd put it in terrible. Next up, we got the Umbright Witherblade. Very good. It has goofy M1 animations that are hard to parry. Very solid damage after they buffed it. The Wither passive is alright. That's not why the weapon's good, though. I just think it has very solid stats, so I'm putting it in great tier. We got the Chorus of Agonies. Yeah, this weapon it's broken, still broken. It's just a better Hive Lord's Hubris, to be honest. It has very low swing speed, but the damage and critical on this thing is just insane. Whenever I see someone using this, I'm kind of afraid to fight them, to be honest, because one hit from this thing and you're losing at least a bar of health. I think it's broken, personally, but y'all might have different opinions. And, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Just a 400 elo player rage baiting for comments. If you like the video, please subscribe, and that's pretty much it.